Evening, everybody. This is Cookie Seton. Tonight is our third lesson of our six-lesson series. Hopefully you had the opportunity to try to set this page up on your own. Actually, I'd love to hear from you and know if you were able to create this page and how you're coming along with it. And if you have any questions or just if you if it came out okay and working out fine for you, I'd like to know that too. So until I do hear from you, I always start by looking at my CSS styles, and I like to keep them pretty much in order so that when I look for things later on, it'll make sense and I'll be able to find what I need. So try to keep the divs in order, the wrapper being the main div, site nav coming after that, and the main content should come above the site nav, below the site nav, header right between the wrapper and site nav. So by looking at it this way, you'll be able to find what you need quicker. Jonathan just wrote that, sorry, I wasn't live for the first two sessions. I'm catching up viewing them. Okay, so, even if you're catching up, what we will be doing, and try to do as much of it as you can, we'll be starting another page in a little while. We'll be finishing off this one and starting a new one from scratch, so hopefully you'll see everything firsthand at that point. So what we had gotten up to last week was we created the divs, and they're represented here by the pound signs. We also created tags, and you'll see the tags in this area. These are targeting a specific element. And we also created two classes, one being the yellow, and how you know it's a class is by the dot sign before the yellow. And you'll see a second one here, which might be a little bit misleading because it starts with the pound sign. It is a compound div, but what makes it also a class is the period between the image dot right image, which is what we named it. So how would I use it? It can only be used on one of the images in this area. This image, and when I click inside of it, you'll see the class shows over here. And if I click into the second image, you'll see that there is no class right now. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have any properties. It takes on the properties of the image above. So this image, this tag here, is giving properties to all three of our images. And what makes this one distinct, what makes the properties of this image override the properties of this, is the fact that it is a class and it's identified within this div. Since I didn't give it any border color, it'll take on the border color of this. I can always remove it from here. It wouldn't affect this picture. But I'll take this image in the meantime. I've got to click into it just so. And if I change the class, you'll see that it moves over and takes on the characteristics of the image in here. Okay. So we're going to make a few more aesthetic changes to some of our div tags. I'm going to start with the main content. I can see the properties right below. I can change them from here or double-click inside of here and make my changes here. So I'm going to stick to here, so I just find it a little bit easier. And in the box, I want you to be able to see it while I'm working, so I'm going to bring this up. If I want to add a little more padding in this area and see if we have any guesses on what to do about it. If I want to add, let's say I want to add 10 pixels more of padding at the top area and the bottom area, what would I have to do to the height of this actual box? See if I get any guesses before I just let you know. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck so that it's not going to be the same all around. When I leave it checked and I make one change, Rena, thank you. Rena said what I should do is if I'm going to add over here, so now this one's becoming 40. The bottom, I can type in 40 or I can just simply minus my 10. Oh, plus, sorry. Oh, I just put it. It should have been a plus sign. Oh, go back in. Too quick. And she's correct. If I take more space in the padding, then I'm going to have to adjust my height. Otherwise, it's not going to fit properly anymore. So anytime you add to the padding or to the margins, either one, you have to make the adjustment in your width and height. If in my right I add just a little bit more, same way, let's say I add 5 pixels to the right, well, then I'm going to have to subtract 5 pixels from the width. And that way, the div itself still fits inside of my wrapper. We have a paragraph tag this paragraph tag affects the entire body. But what I want to do now is I want to add a paragraph tag to my main content, just to the main content area. So I'm going to click into an area that's using the paragraph tag. See the paragraph here. And then I'll put my plus sign for a new CSS rule. And you see that it becomes a compound rule, which is what we want it to be. We don't have to be this specific. It doesn't matter that it's part of the wrapper, so we're going to make it less specific and target the main content, paragraph area. Press OK. And what rule is it that I want to change is the line height. I want more space between the paragraph lines. And I'm going to make that 1.6 ems. I'm going to apply it. And you see how there's more space now between all the lines within the paragraph. So the only area that's going to be affected by that is within the main content. You see the main content has the extra space between, but in my header, the space remains the way it was before. Let's take a quick look in the live view. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to have a division between this paragraph and the second paragraph. I'm going to do that using a horizontal rule. I don't know if that's something that's new to most of you or something you've done before, but I'm going to insert HTML horizontal rule. And you see that I have a very basic gray line. Let me go into the live view so you can see it a little better. You see a very light gray horizontal line going across. It's not going up to the edge of this image because of some of the rules that we might have applied to the image or to the basic div itself. But I still want to make some changes to this rule. I don't want it to only be a gray division as thin as it is. So once again, I'm going to click into the horizontal rule in my status bar, and in my plus sign, I'm going to make it less specific. In fact, this time I'm going to make it just a tag itself. I can make it a tag or specific to this area. Let's see if it lets us do that. There we go. Couldn't see it until I moved that away. Okay, so you see now that I have my horizontal rule. When I do, keep clicking on my right side, sorry. When I do click onto it, it turns, let me get back in there, it turns blue. It's not actually blue. It just means that it's highlighted right now, and it's the opposite color of what it actually is. I see here in my properties, I can come into the properties and change it from here and change the height. I can also add other properties to it. Come back in one more time. Actually, it's almost easier from here. Let me see if I can get back in there. And the width, we gave it a height, but I'm going to give it a width of 70%. So 70% of the area. And you see that it is now only 70% of the space that it's covering. Okay, in my live view it's not showing. Let's see if we could say that. And it's still not showing. Let's bring it into Internet Explorer and see if we'll see it from there. I know you don't see a blank screen right now. Here it comes. Okay. Okay. Not sure why, but it's still showing as a gray line, which it shouldn't. It should be coming in correctly now. Everything's been saved properly. If we make it an obvious color, well, it sure looks right from here. I don't know why it's not showing it to us in the live view. All right, I guess I'll have to come back to that and see what went wrong. Only other thing I could think of, I'm going to try to create the rule one more time. I'll get rid of this rule. Okay, try it again. I guess we'll stay more specific. I just got a suggestion to refresh. If it doesn't work this time, I'm definitely going to give that a shot. Okay. Okay, we got to save our work. And still not coming to what I want. And anybody else have another suggestion? I'm certainly open to it. F5 to refresh the live view. Okay, let's see if that works. No, it's just not working. And can't imagine why. It looks totally right here. Well, hopefully when you do it, it'll probably work. And I don't know, there's times that I just close it, reopen it, do the same thing, and for some reason it works on the next go-around. So I hope that we'll come back and it'll do what we want it to do. Okay, let's just continue with the left side. This was an important part of tonight's lesson. my site navigation. I'm going to show you the before and after. This is what it looks like right now. We had just created a simple list, typed each word, enter, and the next word. What I would like to end up with is a list similar to this. In fact, I think, well, the only extra thing I had there was about. It's fine. So the first thing we need to do is select all four and create a list, an ordered list. Now, most of the times that when you do this, and I'm going to go into the live view, you'll generally have the dots over here because it's a bulleted list. It's just that I had taken it out previously, and well, I'll show you where you'll be taking it out from. So we have the start of our list. When I click into it, you're going to notice down here we have a tag UL, an ordered list, and another tag LI, list item. I'm going to take each of these words now and add a pound sign so that they respond as if they are links to another page. This pound sign is like a placeholder. It allows it to react as if it is a link. So now they'll behave as hyperlinks. Go into live view, and you see that you get the hand, and it's responding as if it's a link. Okay. So, sorry. Now that I have that, and again I have my unordered list, my list item, and my A. I'm going to click into the A. The A is what makes it into hyperlink, into an item that will take you to another page. And we're going to create a new rule. In this one, what I want you to do is, let me, just a moment. Just make it one less specific. Still want it to be the site nav, unordered list, list item, A, and press OK. Now, in the type, the color is going to become white, which is going to make it disappear initially. The background color, well, I'll match it to this purple in here. Did it pick up? No. There we go. No. There we go. Okay, I'm going to apply it. They're all right on top of each other right now. I'm going to go over to block. And in block, display. And in display, I'd like the block category. Again, I'll apply it. In the box, I'd like to make a line height of 30 pixels. Okay. And a margin of 12. Okay. Go back into type, and I want to remove the text decoration, the line underneath, and put none, and apply it. And let's see if there was anything else I wanted to do. Yeah, I'm going to go back into the padding, and on the left side, going to add 12. Okay, and okay, I think that looks pretty nice. See if I it a little bit up here. And I'll press OK. Okay. Save my work. And let's take a quick look at it. So now I'm going to stick with Internet Explorer. Jacob said if I made a suggestion. If you wanted to center the text automatically in the box, how would I do that? Well, let's see if we go back into here. And let's see, there's got to be one in here that should, let's see, text align. Let's try this one. Oh, and look, oh, there's those dots I was talking about. That's what I wanted to be getting rid of. Let's see where that comes in. Can't remember where those dots are. And list. Okay, in list type. Those are the dots that I was concerned with before, like the bullets. I'm going to put none and apply it. Come on, they should be disappearing. Let me see. There they are. Okay. Actually, I think it looks better not centered. I might decide to move it over a little bit as opposed to centering it. So let me just go back in and see if it's funny that these are remaining here when they're not showing when we're, well, let's see, it might be in this row. Let me just go back and change that center. That was in, not positioning, where was I? Let's keep this left. And let's see here. Instead of making these all the same, let's see if we reduce the margin here. Oh, that's only making that bigger. Okay, I'd rather play with it this way and kind of center it, but leaving it lined up. But, you know, it's a personal choice, and you can just play with the numbers and see everything move around to what suits your taste. Press OK. Come on. And save it. Let's go over to Internet Explorer and see what our page is starting to look like. Okay. Those dots are still here, so we're going to have to figure out where they're coming from. They should have disappeared. And, well, we have no actual page. It's funny. This was something that I kept finding in the most obscure place. I want to see if I try only targeting a section of it, if that would remove those. Okay, looks good on this end. I see somebody else is commenting. What does the A indicate? Is it that the regular state or the hover state? Well, we didn't even get to the hover state yet. It is the regular state, the state when you're first seeing it, and we didn't add a hover yet to it. Let's see if I was able to eliminate it, or are we still in the same position? Okay, looks like it's still here. It's either one of the list items, and it goes to show you that you can look at it here and really be happy with your work, and then bring it over to the internet and you end up with something that you don't expect. Try this time with the list item and unordered list and see if where were we again? Box now, border list, this was it. And hopefully one of these is going to remove it. Oh, we got it. Okay. Got to keep trying sometimes. So it was the unordered list and the list item that had to specifically remove those discs. Okay. Sometimes we learn things the hard way. Okay. One other part that I want to do is one more time come back into here, take my A, make a new rule. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's still going to be less specific, but we'll leave all that's up here. But what we're going to do this time is add a colon and add the word hover. And press OK. And in this one, what I would like to do is I want the background to change. I'll make it red, apply it, and press OK. Now, okay, look how nicely that worked. Now, the only thing was we had to actually add the colon and the word hover. And I do believe that when you type it, don't leave any space between the A, the colon, and the word hover. I think they all need to be next to each other for it to work properly. Okay, so we created an entire page using div tags, floats, class tags. We have lots of different styles here. Again, keep them in an order that will make it easy for you to identify and find what you need when you want to be able to make a change on them. The more they're in order, you'll see that it'll be much easier to find what you need. So we did this much. Right now, this website is just a one-page website, but we perhaps have the intention of creating more pages. And all of these rules, we do want them to apply to our other pages. So we're going to take all the rules that we've already created. Click and let's see if I can highlight them all. Okay, I've highlighted all of them, and I'm going to right-click onto it, and I'm going to move the CSS rules. I don't have a style sheet yet. If you see in my files right here, so I'll create it right now, a new style sheet. Press OK. And it's contained within this folder that we made. And I'll just call it styles. Press save. And all these styles now are part of the external style sheet called styles.css. So I can still create styles that are exclusive to this page if I want to. If I specifically want, let's say I'll make a style specifically for here, for this H2. I'm not going to really create it, but just go through the motions. You see that I have a choice now to make this rule become part of my new style sheet or on this page only. It's preferable to try to keep all your styles consistent, but there's times that one style might not work on a specific page, so you'll change it according to your needs. So cancel that out. Something that I wasn't really going to cover in this class, but since I have this page open, I'll ask you about creating templates to your site. Once you have your main page set up, how to create your template for this. So everybody just write in the chat. Let me know if that's something that's important, how to create the template, how to make editable pages, also having repeating regions, and optional regions. So you have 3 areas when it comes to that. Sarah wrote, I'll read each one. Yes, I've done templates before, but I'd like a refresher. And Jonathan also said, sounds worthwhile. Because I really think it's such an important part, and it saves so much time to do it properly. And Rena wrote, I have not done templates. So great. It sounds like everybody is in agreement with this. In fact, on the website, you can look on my beginner classes, and I'll be going over all this in I think it's on look at week 4, and you'll be able to pick up the notes on this at the same time. But right now, since I don't have that open, I'm going to do it without the notes. So I have this page. I'm really happy with it. I want all my pages to go in this style. And my navigation, well, I want to make sure that it's consistent on all my pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by doing just a file, save as template. And I can name it. So save it as index. Well, let's do my pictures of Colorado. So I'm going to do Colorado, Maine as my name. Just kind of works for me. I'm going to update my links, yes. And you'll see that I'm on now coloradomaine.dwt, which is a Dreamweaver template. And I also have right below it, which wasn't here before, my CSS styles unsaved right now. I'd like to make sure that that is saved as I'm working. So I'm just going to click save on there. So now what you're going to notice is I have my, well, let me close this because this doesn't really pertain to this class. Yeah, this will save it. Okay. I'm going to open the index one more time. So I have, let's see what we have here all of a sudden. Okay, this was our original page. Oh, that's what we did have. And this is my CSS styles. Okay. Go back here. And I also want to open my new template. Okay. So now, if I look at the code, you'll see that here's the body, the wrapper, all the div tags we created. That's what I can see in my source code. If I click to my styles.css, this is what is actually in that external style sheet that we created. So if you're going back to the code for any reason, be sure you're in the one that you actually need. If you wanted to make a change to, let's say, this H2, no, let me do it from here, because it shouldn't let me. I hope it's not going to let me, otherwise something went wrong. Okay, if it let me make the change, then it didn't move all this over. Let me just make sure that it did. Let me move all these rules onto the style sheet. Okay, sorry. Oh, no, they were there. Just go back a second. All right, I'll see what's going on with that after. It's not where I wanted to leave this. Okay, so I'm in my template. The areas that I want to be able to make changes is in my main content, this area. I don't want this to be here at all times, only on certain pages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove most of the text in here. Just leave just enough to keep it kind of like keeping a placeholder. And this area, I'll hit Control, click into. All right, here's my div, my main content. This is the area that I want to be editable. So I'm going to go to Insert, Template Object, Editable Region. And I'm going to name that Main Content. I like that name because I'll identify it easily. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Okay. That's my first editable region. Second editable region, I'm going to pretend that what's up here is my company logo. I'm going to just change this because sometimes I get tired of looking at that. And I'll just write company logo. And that's something that's going to remain on all my pages. But whatever text I have in this area, and I'm just going to highlight this area, I want to insert another template object, editable region, and this is my, just right here. Okay. So anything inside of here can be changed. Anything outside of here right now can't be changed. I'm going to take this area down here below my navigation. Oops. Where am I? There I am. Right in this area, I'm going to save for ads. See if I take a chance and insert my horizontal rule here. Well, I guess it's going to stay gray, and I'm not going to argue with that for now. I'll argue just a little bit. I'll make the height 5. Nice thick line. Okay, so right below this area is where I want to create repeating regions. So what I'm going to do is I'll write in here sponsors. Oops. Center it. Okay. So I have my sponsors over here. I'm going to look through my images. I hope I have some kind of image that I can pretend is one of my sponsors. Let's see what we got. Okay. We'll start with this guy. way too big. Some days my mouse just doesn't want to cooperate. If I can't click inside of it, I can't edit it. You see that my mouse is just, okay. Just to, let's see, I'll make the width 37, 47 by 20. Okay, that way to go. Just go right up here. That's right. Okay, a little better now. Okay, this is one of my sponsors, and call it Black Canyon, pretending that that's one of my sponsors. Now, this is the area that I want to make a repeating region. So I'm going to select, again, if my mouse cooperates, I'll select the picture and the text, and I'll insert another template object, this time a repeating region. Okay, and I'll call that my sponsor, and press OK. Now, once something's a repeating region, it could be repeated but not necessarily editable. So I'm going to select it again and insert another editable region, and I'll call this one also sponsor. I'll call sponsor edit so I'll know the difference, and save all my changes. In fact, looks like I have some styles that haven't been saved, so I'm going to just save all. That allows everything to get saved. And I'm going to create a new page. File, new, and page from template this time as opposed to just a blank page. I'm in the right folder. I only have one template for now, and I'm ready to create it. So I'll bring my mouse over to this area. You see that I have no control over the company logo, no control over this picture because this wasn't part of what we selected originally. You see I'm in the head right now. But this area, I can do whatever I want with it, clean it out, write something new. This will be my new page. Okay. This area, again, also editable because it's my main region, and maybe this will become my product page. And in fact, I'll save it as products. Change my title because that's one thing that it's really terrible when you leave the title as untitled document. That's what will show on your website and makes it really hard for people to find your site. Now, this area, again, I can't touch it. It's part of my template. And down here are my sponsors. Now, we have the repeat. So I'm going to press the plus sign. So now I have two. So I might want to use it like this because that way everything stays structured. I already gave structure to the first one, and I spelled black wrong, but that's nothing new. And I can make any change in this picture, just double click inside of it and replace it. picture. Oh, way too big again. Oh. And change, let me see, kind of not fitting in the space that I actually originally created, but I don't think I can change that right now. Even if I made these, well, okay, I guess I was able to squeeze it in, and this is my cedar, I don't know, whatever it was, cedar tree. Okay, once I have these, I can change the order of my pictures. I can move this one up, and you see how it took the cedar tree, the definition, everything together. Can move it up, move it down, could decide that I don't want this one anymore, and I could simply remove it by hitting the minus sign to get rid of it, or the plus sign, of course, if I needed more of them. Okay, it's 6:46 right now. Let's take a few-minute break, and we'll resume at 6:50. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat, and I'll address them when we come back. Thank you. Oh, you'll see my screen will be black. I'm pausing it, and we'll return in just a few moments. Okay, I guess it never actually paused. I think I left it on. All right, but it doesn't really matter. I had some really good questions, and I'm going to go through each one slowly. First question was from Jacob, what controls the spacing between the repeat editable region? In other words, if I wanted to move the lower one up. Well, right now, since it's in this site nav div, it's taking on whatever properties are within this nav. I don't know that I really requested the space between fact, what I'm going to do is, if I go to modify, I should be able to remove, let me see if I can remove, where is it? Well, no, not from here. Go back in here, and let me see if I can remove this. Well, you know, I mean, it didn't look like I took on that much, but you do see that extra space right between here. So I must have taken a little more space than I had anticipated. Let's see if I modify it. Modify the template, and well, this is going to remove all of the markup. Did it? Let me see. No, it only removed the one I was in. That's good. Okay. Let's see if I also could remove this repeat. Remove. Okay. Okay. I took it all out. No, it didn't look like I really took more. I'm wondering if the image itself had some defining areas that, well, let's see if I go into my image. Oh, I do have a space here. Actually, I'm not going to really do it now, but what I would want to do is I'd want to make very specific rules for the space in here, like putting 0 margin, 0 padding at the top. If I wanted to really make, or a very small amount if that's what I want, make sure that by default it's not picking up on any margins or padding that I didn't really want it to have. So I would do that in the div that I'm working from so that I'm not affecting the other divs, and that way the space should be smaller if that's really what you wanted it to be. So I hope that answers the question, because I did notice that I did have a lot of space between the two, which might have been fine, but I want to know that I have control over the spacing rather than just rely on the default spacing. Another question was, if you create a template, wouldn't you want the navigation to be editable as well? Otherwise, how would you link between pages? Well, I am going to show you how we're going to resolve that. So let's just put this back in one more time. Let me just get this back. Oh, going to insert the template object. Again, I'm going to do the repeating object first, and that's for my sponsor. And then insert my editable region. Oops. And also sponsor. Okay. And I do notice it keeps on taking more space than I really wanted to. So that's something that probably, like I said, clean it up in the image tag of this area. Wondering if that's what's creating that space, and it very well could be. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to save all the changes I made. As soon as I do that, it asks me, do I want to update the page that is affected by it? And I do want to update it. Now, the index page is what we created this from, but the index page is not, oops, let me just do that again, sorry. All right, well, I'll let this update. I'll have to go back to my index page and use my template, because right now that page is not involved. It doesn't have any template at all. This should have stopped by now. Let's see why it doesn't want to update. Usually this will just do it on its own. Yeah, I'll stop updating. Okay, so this page is saved. Go back into my product page. And from here, I do have control over this area, but I have no control over this. I'm going to remove just one of these for now. I'm just going to leave one here because I do need the extra space. Of course, if I needed more space on my website, I would have to change my wrapper, change the height of the columns, but I don't want to spend the time to do that right now. But I know that I am going to have another category here. I'm going to have one that's going to say About Us. Can't make any change from here, but I want every page of my website to be affected by this change. So I go back to my main. And I'll take my Colorado, copy it, and I'll paste it. Just have an extra one here ready. Call this one About Us. Now, if this was really a link, I would have to make my change here to say about.html or whatever the page name would be, and save my change. Do I want to update my product page? Of course. Hope this goes easier now. This should still be updating without a problem. Usually it happens in a very quickly, and of course now it's not. Oh, but it did work. Okay, I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't want to update any faster. But now I see that this has been changed. So again, think in terms of you have 20 different web pages. You don't want to change your navigation on 20 different pages. You want to change it in one place, perhaps even two places if you're working with more than one template. Let me just see if there was another question, and there's still one more section that I want to talk about. Sarah asked, does it have the navigation style with the padding top and bottom? That's what I was saying earlier, is that I think that it's taking on the padding of this entire div, and that's why we're ending up with the space here. Probably what I would do is I would insert another div in this area. That way it would have its own rules and not really divided the way I did. I did it kind of as a shortcut to be able to show you this example. So I'm thinking that at the bottom of my site, I would like, and I've got to stay in my GWT to do this, I want to add a footer to my page. I'm going to go back to my wrapper. And in the box, I want to add a little more height. I know that my footer is going to need about 50 pixels. So I'm going to make the height now 700 instead of what I had before. And you'll see right now that there's a space between my site nav, my main content, and the bottom of my page. So I'm going to click at the end of my page, well, actually at the end of my main content, and I'm going to insert another div tag, and I think I'll do it after tag, after my main content, and I'll call it footer, and I'll give it a new rule. Okay, again, it's my ID. That's why you see the ID of a div. That's why you see the pound sign here. And now the rule is going to go into my styles.css. Press OK. And the only thing I really need to do is give it a height of 50. Just to be sure, I'm going to put some zeros in here. although I really shouldn't have to. And press OK, press OK. And this should be my new area. Let's see if it, where'd it go? Great. Doesn't want to work. Let's see if I can get into my footer. My footer is not here. Something about it didn't work. Let's see what happened. See if I change the height. Oh, there it is. Got to float it. There we go. Now I think we have enough space. What was the width? I don't remember what the width is of our wrapper. So let me just go back. Oh. It was a width of 900. Okay, so I'll give that the same width. Okay, that float is really important. Okay, there we go. So, contents for my ID footer goes here, and we'll just write website design by okay, we'll leave that like that for now. Not very attractive, but certainly works for now. Now, okay, let's add a background color to it. Now, why didn't that show up? No, I'm not in the right place. I should be seeing my footer here, and I don't see it. It looks like I ended up in a different area. Not what I wanted to happen. Oh, there we go. Now we got it. Okay, as long as I have something here. Now, I don't necessarily want that footer to appear on every page. So what I'm going to do with it is click into it, click into the div, the footer, and insert one more template object, this time an optional region. It's ending up as somehow connected to this, which it really shouldn't be. But let's just see what happens when I go into. This seems to happen each time today. Let's see if it stayed. Okay, it's in there. And it's not here, and it should be. Well, let's see what happens. Somebody's probably realizing what I did. Is it necessary to define the height? Couldn't you just leave it so that the content defines it? I mean, I guess I could take it out, but it shouldn't. It should still be showing up. Well, I have to work from here. Go back in. I'm going to take it out and see if that does help us. Well, now it's only taking the space that it needs, which is whatever I had inside here. I'll just put a little more content in here, just for argument's sake. Okay, still here. This update is going to drive me crazy because it's not responding the way it ought to. Well, I should see this optional region, and I'm not seeing it. Let's see if I try to remove it, if it's even in there. Okay. Okay, this is the window I wanted. I don't know why it wasn't coming in between. But here's my new optional region. I'm going to rename it Footer. Whew. Press OK. Save my work. Update my page. Okay. It shouldn't be asking me this because for some reason this footer is getting affected by the main content. Well, let's see. And normally what happens, in fact, you know what, instead of fighting it because it is fighting it, I'm going to open a page that already has it. These are the times when I just, turn the computer off, turn it back on, and hope for the best. Okay. Okay. This page, you can see the areas that are editable. My main content area is editable. In the header, it's not, nor is my navigation. This area doesn't appear to be, but what I'm going to do is modify. No. I'm going into template properties, and this area that I named copy as opposed to footer right now has a value of true, meaning that it shows. This is what I was trying to get our page to do. If I uncheck this, it becomes false, and it disappears from the page. It usually works very easily. For some reason, I'm getting stuck, and instead of trying to repair it here, I prefer showing it to you here. So you see that it's an optional region, and I'll open another page. Again, this has that same area. I can't tell from looking here that it's an optional region. But again, if I go to modify template properties, I see right away, same thing. And again, I'm able to remove it. So that's what we were trying to do over here, but it was resistant. Let's see if it took on any properties. Oh, actually it is here. Let's see if we remove it now. See that? Sometimes you walk away and you come back and presto, everything starts working just fine. Okay. So hopefully there's no questions about that. But at least we got it back on board. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to close this. Well, I'll save all my styles, save them all, and that way if I want to come back to it, I have them ready. I'm going to close what I've done so far, and I'm ready to start another site. I do have a lot of things that I want to teach you, and I'm going to clean up all that I have and start a new site. Let's see, this one, let's see what name I want you to give it. Actually, this one is kind of like a photography site because I like to use a lot of work with images and being able to present different types of slideshows. So we're going to start a whole new site. So what I want to do, I'm going to squeeze in here. Let me move this away. I know I have a question in there. Somebody lost a phone connection. I'm hoping that everybody else still hears me. In fact, Sarah, just send me a quick chat if you hear me, because it looks like, okay, so it looks like Jonathan came back. Okay, so we're ready to go to site. We're going to start a new site. And let's name this one photography. And the reason I want it separate is that I don't want the CSS styles of this site to affect what we're going to do now. Local site folder, well, we didn't really create one yet. Actually, we should do that first. I'm going to go onto my desktop and quickly create a new folder. And I'll call this photo site. We'll populate it after. Go to new site. And this is going to be our photo. I'll say photo site, and the local site folder here is on my desktop on the photo site. Okay, so it's blank so far, and we're ready to get started. We'll create a new page, blank page. That we have no CSS file to attach. And from this new page, I'm ready to insert my first div. And for those that might have missed the first lesson, you'll really catch on to what we've been doing. For those that have been following along, hoping that you're going to guess what I should do before I do. And if you want to just quickly write things into the chat, it'll be great. Know that you're understanding this, because to me this was something that took a little bit of time in the beginning to really understand. Press OK, and in the box, I'm giving it a size of, 800 by 800. In the chat, if anybody remembers where these numbers actually come from, 800, how many inches is 800? How would I really know how many inches 800 is? I'm going to float it to the left, assuming that we have all American students. I had one class with some students from Israel, and they prefer floating things to the right side, but I'm using the left. And again, I have space in here because of the default padding that you'll see this space. Now, what I'm going to do now, a little bit different than the rules that I have on the lesson itself if you're following along. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write the word header, because that's going to become our first div. After that, let's see, I'll probably have site nav again. Just site nav. And then I'll have my main content. And some I'm going to put my footer from the beginning so that I don't have to worry about it later on. Okay. So those are going to be the different areas that we'll be creating. my header, div, oops, take the whole word right over here, is going to become a box of 800 width by 60 high. I selected the word header, and I'm going to copy it. I'll show you why. And now I'm going to insert my div tag. This time, wrap it around the selection, wrap it around the word that I just selected, give it an ID. I'm just going to paste it so that I know for sure I wrote exactly what I wanted it to be, and start to give it rules. Again, I like to leave my CSS here for now. And the box will be, now it has, I want it to be the width of what I've been working with, a height of just 60. Perhaps I know what picture I'm going to use, what image I'm using for my header, and I know it's basically 60 pixels high, and just make sure to float it to the left and press OK. Okay, and you see that it pushes the other content down. The nav on this one, I also want it to be 125 pixels wide by 500 high. Now, why am I picking 500? Because I know that I used 60 for my header, and I'll be using just a bit, that 40 for my footer. Again, to select the word, copy it, wrap around selection as opposed to what I might have done earlier when I did it at insertion points, since I selected some of the text. Copy and paste, same word is there. Oops, forgot to put the rest of it in there. Well, since I did that, I have to click onto my, ooh, this is not good. Let me go back. Okay, let me create it one more time. New CSS rule. Not that you actually have to do it now, but it is better. The width is 125. Float it to the left. I'm going to leave that out one time so you'll see what will happen. I'm going to give it a height of 500 and apply it. Okay. And press OK. And the other words are here. The main content, again. Oh, cancel that for a minute. I'll copy it. Paste it. Okay, so now my width, I started with, let's see, I started with 800. Subtract my 125. My height, well, I don't remember what my height was, so it was, let me just go back and look at my numbers again. My original height was 800, so I used up 60. I'm saving another 40 for my footer, and I have it all set now. I know I should press float, but I'm just going to leave it out for now. Come back in, and it looks okay, but it is going to become problematic later on, and looks like I still have more space over here. Let's see what happened. The wrapper, was a width of 800. Okay, this has a width of 800, my 125, and let's go back into here and add that float. Okay, look at the difference. Now it's filling properly. So, you see, as soon as you leave out that float, your page, perhaps it won't know where to really butt up against. Now it's floating left of my site nav. Oh, maybe it's not. There we go. Let's see what's going on. Something came out of order. This footer lost something here. For some reason, let's see, it should say ID, oh, not ID, PIV, ID equals, it should look like the others. Okay, something is not at the right height. Let's see, our height here is 700. Our site nav here is only 500. So let's see if we... Okay, looks much better. So you see what I had to do was I had to go into the code, see what wasn't matching, what wasn't lining up properly. And again, you don't have to really know code that well. If you see that the code here looks a certain way and yours and the following line doesn't, just follow the order of what you see ahead of it. So what really, you see here that I have my first div, this one, not looking right either because I should be seeing it in blue. This div should end here. Let's see if it lets me. Now it looks right. You see, when this was in black, I knew that it wasn't reading it properly. So when this div was opened, it never closed anywhere. This was missing. Let's see if the beginning of our page should be looking much better now. Oh yeah, everything looks in order. The footer though has no properties. My footer right now has no properties. So I'm going to go back into it. It's taking on the properties of the wrapper. So let's give it, actually, I think I'm just going to remove it. Easier than, I'm going to go back into my code one more time. I don't like what this is doing. I don't like what's going on here. I'm going to remove it. Go back into my design. I see it's empty now. Come back into my main content. Add my div, not at insertion point, but after this tag, after this main content tag, call it footer, and let's give it a rule of a width of 800, float to the left, and a height of 40. And say okay, and looks much better now. Everything looks like it's back in order. I'm just going to take a quick look at the code, and looks like it's all set up the way it should be. So we'll save this as our index page. For the most part, save your front page as the index. And you know what? Actually, well, we just have a few minutes, so I would rather leave this at this point. I want to make sure that I give you all the images that are associated with this one, which I'll have to you ready on Wednesday night. And if there's any questions, we'll address them now. Otherwise, we'll leave it at this point, and we'll resume again on Wednesday. Okay. All right. I'm going to save this work and see you all again in a couple of days. Okay. Thank you again, and good night.